and worse, the smell of burning flesh. Her bed now lifted off the ground and began to tip to the left and to the right. Her whole body shook with terror. She started to pray in her mind, and she remembered what I said about moving her fingers, and she slowly moved the pinky of her right hand. Suddenly, this evil being dematerialized before her eyes. Thank goodness she never saw this demon again.
Bruce, you're good. West of the Rockies, let's go to Dan and Kathy. You're on Coast to Coast. Hello, you two.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, so you've got something for us, huh?
Oh, yeah, we got more than we bargained for. We went on the Ghosts and Legends tour at the Queen Mary. We were one of the first tours when they first started it.
Okay, 'cause I've been on that too. I love that.
I love it. I had a few encounters on it. Anyway, the main thing I'm going to talk about is the main one, which is after we went through the tour and we got down into the belly of the Queen Mary, way down underwater.
In the boiler room.
Down to the front boiler room.
It's creepy down there.
It's this huge room, and it's kind of like being in a cave. It's so huge. And there, the tour guide was using her spotlight, her little flashlight, pointing out different things and stuff, and I was kind of not quite paying attention to her. And I was kind of like about 10 feet away from everybody. And just all of a sudden, I got this real bad, like somebody, like ice, hitting up the back, on the back, and it went up right through the middle of my body. And all of a sudden, my T-shirt hit me in the face. Just flipped up in front of me in the face, and I started getting poked, and my T-shirt was being pulled around and stuff. And I'm like yelling, "Hey, quit that!" And I left a few F-bombs go, And the rest of the people on the tour, they were like looking at me like I was possessed, and they started backing away, real slowly. and they were pulling on my shirt, whatever it was pulling on my shirt and poking me. And my wife, I'll let her take over from here on that one.
Okay. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I thought that Dan was fooling around, so I went over to see what was happening, if this was some sort of trick or special effect, and I felt around. He didn't have any magnets or tape. There's no string. There's no wind. No lasers. And when I looked at him, and he was holding his arms, hands, and fingers, just steady, trying to keep his shirt down, not moving them, but, they were against his chest, so his T-shirt wouldn't go up above his head. I saw the imprints of invisible thumbs and fingers flipping his shirt upward and pulling on it.
Yeah, and so I'm like twisting around still, I'm going, ow, ow, let go. And it was kind of funny because, it was kind of painful, but kind of funny at the same time. And everybody was like looking at us, And the lady, I guess, tour guide kind of got tired of it. I guess she goes, "Oh, that's just John. He likes blondes."
John the Ghost.
John the Ghost, that is.
I love it. When I was out there, I saw some strange stuff too. And I wasn't so sure what they were.
And the rest of it, I got this really cold feeling on the side of my head, and I heard in my ear, "I'm not John." And then the whole group heard footsteps walking away from the group.
As they stood still, they were gawking.
Everybody was standing still, looking at me still, and you hear footsteps walking away. Everybody heard the footsteps. So go on it.
Would you take that tour again?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Thanks. Let's go to Mary. You are on Coast to Coast with Ghost to Ghost. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm scared.
What are you scared of?
Well, what I have to tell you is a frightening story. It's the story of my life, and my life has been a bit of a puzzle to me, and I've had to work to kind of figure it out. And
what's going on?
Well, there were ghosts involved in my childhood. I was about 3 years old in '58, and I had 3 older sisters, and we lived in a ranch house, and I was sitting at breakfast. I was 3 years old, and my sisters were crying again to my mother once again about what they had heard. They were woken in the night upstairs, and they heard the piano playing down in the basement, a ghastly, horrible tune. And as much as they didn't want to go down there, they were forced to go down there as if in a trance. And they had the same experience, at least 4 or 5 times, but not on the same night. But they would get to about the 6th step, and the music would just get louder and louder, and they knew that the person who was playing it was a man named Bloody Bones, and he was exactly that. He did not have skin.
Bloody Bones?
Yes, and my sister would tell me about him on the stairs when I was 3, that he lived downstairs and that he stole my mother's peas, canned peas, and that he also made just one to eat children. And so when they would get to the 6th step, a woman in white would stop them and turn them around and walk them back to bed. And she had a long white dress on, and from what they told me, she looked a lot like Grace Kelly when she got married. And so I had to live with that, and my sister taught me how to get up the stairs fast if anything was going on or chairs were rocking when they shouldn't. You should act as though you don't know what's going on, but get the heck out of there. So I was playing house down there one morning, and the chair started to rock, and I acted like I didn't see what was happening, and I grabbed my baby, and I got up those stairs within 10 seconds. And so we just sort of lived with that, and our parents told them that they were just having sleepwalking problems and that they were just dreaming and that it didn't really happen. So then a few years later, when they hit puberty, on Easter Sunday night, they had a bedroom down in the basement. By then, my father had finished various rooms down there. And they were laying in bed talking and making fun of people and joking, and suddenly the room became really cold. And we had a collie dog named Molly that was down there with her.
I bet she felt it, didn't she?
Yeah, and she just froze up and didn't do anything. And in the mirror in the room, a pinpoint of light started small, and then it grew really large, and then my sister Joyce, she felt this entity get on top of her, and she had a necklace that she wore all the time from some friends of my parents, Margie and Al.
Yeah.
And and it had a little statue of Mary on it, and this thing pressed down with its index finger into the hollow of her throat, Mary, and all she could do was try to cry out to God for it to be gone.
Well, that helps. That helps.
Hi, this is Marianne Winkowski, the Ghostbuster, and have I got a story for you. I hardly ever tell scary stories because they're, for me, far and few between. But in our area of Cleveland, many, many years ago, we had a lot of mobsters around here, and a lot of them were killed. And I got called to a neighborhood by a family that had definitely earthbound activity in the house. So I went in, and this used to be one of those really beautiful neighborhoods, but lacking in people not taking care of the houses that was sort of gotten run down. So I get there and walked in, and it was a lady in a wheelchair. She's the lady that owned the house. Her son and daughter-in-law and 2 of their children lived with her, and another son lived with her. And this is how dilapidated this house was, that when I walked in, they said, be careful that you don't hit your head on the ceiling. The rain has, loosened everything, and it's sort of falling around us. Okay, come in, sit around the table, talk about the 2 ghosts that are there. Typical, normal, nice family, little dysfunctional, okay. And it's gotten to the point over the years that if there's any ghosts in the house, they usually come to the room that I'm sitting in. Well, there was a ghost down the basement that just had no intentions of coming upstairs. So I looked at the lady in the wheelchair, and of course there's no way she's going to go down the basement steps with me. And I looked at her 2 sons in their 40s, and I said, well, I need to go down the basement. And they stared at each other, and they stared at me, and they said, oh, nobody goes in the basement. And I said, well, if you want this ghost gone, I need to go to the basement. And the one son said, well, it's off the kitchen. And I thought, great. So I walk in the kitchen, and they said, it's the door that has the lock on it. And it was one of those old skeleton keys in